So welcome everyone. Thanks for jumping on. And this is the big project in the Module 2 folder. And for clarification for the semester, this Module 2 is probably the most involved. It's the busiest, just behind the portfolio project. So your portfolio project, so the Module 9, Module 10 folder, they kind of merge together, like the resume and the personality assessment and the portfolio. That is your biggest project. And this one here, it's the other big one. It just has a lot of the moving parts. And so you have an extra week, maybe extra 10 days to get all this done. So everything in this module is not due until Valentine's Day. So February 14th or that weekend. So you have time for that. And the expectation was for you just to review the library research project, get started on it if you wanted, but just to review it so you know what you're doing. Because today, where you're going to get the bulk or the meat of making sense of it, what you're doing. I know a lot of you have already started it. Some of you have already even turned it in and you've done really good work. If you've already submitted something and you want to retract it and redo it, you can submit as many times as you like. By next week, when I go to grade it, I'll grade your most recent submission. So you don't have to have it perfect before you submit the first time. We have Mallory from the library, and she's gonna take you through. And she's gonna be our. Are you gonna be our embedded librarian for the semester?
Yeah.
Perfect. So not only is she going to talk to us today and kind of go through some of the basics, but she'll be available for questions if they arise throughout. And even if you have questions outside of this particular assignment, the point of this assignment isn't to test your English grammar and writing skills. It's meant to just expose you to the library itself, help to understand like what evidence and what research is. So when people say, "Oh, there's no science to support that," or there is, this is what we're getting to get started and looking at. So kind of understanding the difference between peer-reviewed research and blog posts, like fake news versus news, or just becoming a better consumer of information. So it's just meant to introduce you to the process. That's it. It's an intro to kinesiology class, and we're introducing you to the library research, and that's it. So it doesn't have to, we're not grading you on like how deep of thought you went, and it's more, can you log in, find some articles, interpret it a little bit, and understand what you're looking at. So it should be a lower stress activity now that it's not we're grading you on original work. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mallory. And Mallory, again, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Mallory, and I am a librarian at the library. Um, Let me start sharing my screen. I'm going to take you through. Do you guys have see my screen? Okay, perfect. Um, because we're all online, I just wanted to show you first a couple of resources that would be very helpful for you guys. This is our Harper College Library website. You can access it with just Harper College, and then it'll be like the first one that pops up. For your guys' benefit, we have an option called live chat. So if you click on that, you can just fill out your name, your email address, and then ask any question. Like this could be like, do you guys have this book? Can someone help me find articles on stretching? Whatever you may think of, we can help you. This is like a kind of like it's like a chat room, I guess. So all of our librarians, well, not all of them, but we always have someone available. So just ask away, and we are always there to help you. You can also, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can call us or you can email us. And then there's also a thing called research appointments. So this have like 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes with a librarian. So like if you need to, like say like you start talking to one of the librarians in the chat feature, but you just realize that like, oh my gosh, like I I need more time with somebody. This will allow you to have a consultation with one of us. And it's really nice because you can pick out whatever time you want. So we do say we schedule appointments 24 hours in advance. So if you want an appointment for today, you would actually have to have it for tomorrow. But it's just really great. Like I said, if you want more one-on-one time with a librarian, this would be what you would want. And then it's really hard. I never get used to the stuff popping down when I'm sharing my screen. So if I'm kind of weird about things, that's why I'm waiting for things to move up. Okay, so I think I logged out. Okay, we're back to the library page. Another thing too is we're doing curbside. So if you need a laptop or a hotspot, we do have those that you can request. That would be through the request technology. If there's any like books or movies or whatever that you want, we are doing curbside service. So you would request your materials, and then I'll show you our hours, our curbside service hours. You would place a hold here, and then you can, I think we let you know, like we send you an email, and then you can pick it up, like our location and hours. Those are our hours. So Tuesdays 9 to 1, Wednesdays 3 to 7, Thursdays 9 to 1, and Saturday 10 to 2. So that's just like a really quick rundown of some of the things that the library is offering. So for your guys' research appointment, for your research project, if you go to research, there's two things that I could show you. There's a thing called research guides. This is actually really helpful for any of your other classes as well. Say like you have a English paper. You can go down to our literature section. And here is everything that a librarian has put together that pertains to literature. So for yours, we actually don't technically have a section, but if you enter search words, oh, look at right here. I can click on that, search, and then I can see that there's one in the health and science section, and then there's also stuff in physical and life science. So I'm going to go to health and science. And then through this, you can see all of the databases, which I will show you, don't worry, that would be beneficial for your area of study. There's also videos. Where's the videos at?
Mallory, I'm gonna just interject real quick. So you guys, kinesiology, exercise science is not a big enough field by itself. It's typically considered allied health. And so when you look at the allied health field, you have nursing, physical therapy, research, respiratory therapy, occupational therapy, and we're normally going to be grouped under that. So sometimes we're under bio, sometimes we're under physical and life sciences, but it would be very, very rare to find something that's just like exercise science and kinesiology. But that's why you see here, you see health science or you see physical and life science. So we fall right into those AOIs, those academic interests. But most of the databases that we'll be doing will be similar to what nursing is the biggest allied health field. And so typically when you're looking for research or where we get categorized, it's going to be under nursing, more so not because we're familiar with nursing, but because it's part of allied health, and nursing just happens to be the largest discipline in allied health. Just so it doesn't get confusing why you're looking at nursing articles for nursing databases for exercise science type stuff. Sorry, Marilyn. Thank you.
No, that was awesome. Like I said, anytime that you can think of something to say, go for it. I'm totally fine with that. And right now I'm trying to find, there is a really great video that one of our librarians made. I want to say I'm just going to show you the one that's in the literature section because that's what I'm familiar with. There's a video on how to do a research appointment, which I showed you quickly. There's also, so like reasons why you should use a research database, finding the right database, using keywords. This is a really good video. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight those because in case like we're done talking and maybe like tomorrow you're doing your assignment and you're like, how do I do keywords? Like right here. So just go to the literature videos. That's the great one. So now I'm going to go back to our homepage, and I'm going to go to research, and I'm going to click on databases. A few databases that I would recommend would be Academic Search Complete is just a really good database. And you can use this for a lot of your classes. Another one would be like a PubMed, CINAHL, Health Source. Can you think of any other ones, Jonathan?
No, I typically CINAHL is usually the go-to, and then I do use PubMed a lot, and I use PubMed mostly for because PubMed gives you when you look up something, it gives you an article, and then it like links all the other articles that have either familiar search terms. And I know this is probably a really bad comparison, but I look at PubMed as like a Google, where if I put something in there and it just gives me a bunch of stuff that I didn't even know that existed, it's like, oh yeah, that's really what I was looking for. That's the key term that I like. So I use PubMed a lot as my starting point. But if I'm looking for articles that I have full access to, we typically have the most success in the CINAHL database. So. And you guys, just so you know, when you go on the Blackboard shell, everything that Mallory's doing, like the step-by-step going, I have it visually as a graphic, like step 1, go to the research database, and step 2, click on here, step 3. So I do have this laid out. So if it feels like it's going a little fast, I have this video recorded. So you guys are going to be able to go back and access this and slow it down or review it again. And I also have it step-by-step graphically in the Blackboard shell. So every step is handheld along the way. But those steps on there end up getting you to the CINAHL databases for research. And yes, Mallory, there's probably other ones, but I am not as savvy in the library field. I just go to what's easy, what's simple, and what I know already. So
No, that's great. Yeah, like I said, like the academic search complete is just like that kind of to me is like a Google. Like it's just I usually just like type in whatever and then like I'll go from there. But yeah, I wanted to make sure like I was doing the ones that like you would recommend as well. So PubMed, I'm trying to think let's just do passive stretching. Let's just try passive stretching. Okay, so from here, and it's gonna highlight a lot of like the passive stretching. And also too, researching is very time consuming. You might type in something and it's not going to give you the results that you want. So just playing around with like different search terms and like whatever is just like it is going to be stressful at times, but just like so like acute effects of passive stretching. If I just like click on this one, you can also like Jonathan was saying, like there's also like little areas you can find like other search terms. And so, okay, so for this article, here's the abstract. So the abstract is basically just like a synopsis of like what they're going to say in the article. So here underneath here it says keywords. So stretching induced force deficit, muscle activation, range of motion, stretch tolerance. So like these might be some of the words that you would want to search in for later. So like you can like write them down or like whatever. So in the abstract, let me see if this one pertains to what we're talking about.
So as Mallory is reviewing this, I do want to know what she's really doing is she's not reading this from the beginning. She's starting down here at the bottom. She's looking at the last sentence or two to find out what exactly the outcome was. So when you see people start to research, you're going to get these articles. And if you saw when she did that search term, she got like 24,000 results. There's no way when she said it researching is hard, she wasn't implying that you're going to read 24,000 articles. What she wants to do is she wants to get the search terms down correct enough. So she only has maybe a dozen or 2 articles to review. And then when she was reviewing them, she's not reading the entire article. She's reading the last sentence or so of the abstract to see if it's even what she wants. Like and that's what that abstract is. It's basically a little summary of what they found, what they did. And if they're looking at something and they found a result that, let's say you're in because the goal is you got to find 3 articles that are showing positive stretching benefits, that it's worth your time doing. And then you got to find 3 articles that state a question that and say it's either against what you want to do or it's not worth it at all. It's not worth your time doing. So if you're in your process right now, you got to acquire articles that are showing that stretching is not beneficial. You want to go right away to this last sentence down at the bottom here at the abstract, the last sentence or 2, and see what they found. And if they found that stretching is, and they're stretching muscles of a horse, well, you don't even care. That article is no longer appropriate. So that's what the abstract is doing when she's reviewing that.
So yeah, this one is saying, I mean, so this one, this may be something that you would look into. But before I forget, if you go up here to the right-hand corner, you can see that there's a PDF, so you can download that. And then here's a citation that you can click on. And then you guys are right here, the citation.
So just real quick, so you can keep that up, Mallory. So can you open that again?
Yeah.
So you guys see here, there's like American Medical Association, MLA, American Psychology. These are all different formats for citations. And one of them, neither of them is better than the other. It's just each industry gravitates to certain ones. And so anything related to allied health, physical therapy, kinesiology, exercise science uses the APA format. So what's happening here is that even if you don't even know, like I couldn't tell you right now with my background, I couldn't tell you the difference between AMA, MLA, APA. I don't know any of it. I just copy and paste the format, and all the citations are usually done for you. So what she's showing you is most research aspects. If you click on my citation, all you're going to do is where her pointer is at is you're going to copy and paste that. That's the citation that you need. Depending upon what class you're in, if you're taking an English class or you're in a music theory class or kinesiology class, your instructions are going to be set up by the assignment, and just got to make sure that you are aware that there are different citation formats available. So that's all. It's just different formatting. The other thing that she showed is the Mallory, if you can close that and then open up your she got the PDF there. And when you're doing your research, you typically do not want to just fly through the abstracts. A lot of really bad science and bad journalism happens by just interpreting things that happen in the abstract. The abstract is a summary. Sometimes the abstract is the way it's worded can say something totally different than what the actual evidence in the research article shows. So just because the abstract says one thing, it doesn't mean that's exactly what the conclusion is. So you want to make sure that you are reading through the article. That doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen with controversial topics like cholesterol and different things that are politically influenced, right? That's not science versus politics. So make sure that you have access to the full article. And the other thing I want to is don't get intimidated by all these like fancy names. Like this is part of the thing you're going to happen with anatomy. Like this is just using jargon. It's using scientific terms that are appropriate to the field. And they have like acute effects of passive stretching, neuromuscular function. And so it's all these fancy terms. If you just kind of take a second and process a little bit, or if you start reading like their methods, they'll start to tell you in real words what they did. You know, they're like, okay, we took someone and we made them push against the wall and push their heel down to the floor. It's like, okay, that's passive stretching of the plantar flexor muscles, right? It's just a fancy way of saying it. So sometimes that can be a little intimidating. Once you start reading through it a little bit and kind of skimming through it, it should make more sense.
And also too, for just since we're here, we also say like when people are doing research, if you can find an article that's at least 10 plus pages, that's going to be like a really good meaty article. If you get under 10, it's like sometimes they're okay. But yeah, like you don't want to get an article that's like 3 pages. Like that's not going to really help you with much. So just like for like other researches that you're doing, like just keep in mind, like we say about, well, I guess it's like 8 up is like a good article.
And then one of the things too, like Mallory put the stretch when she put her search term, she just put in passive stretching. You can see in the upper right hand corner here where it says passive stretching, 24,478 articles. Now that's way too many. So she gave you the intervention passive stretching, and all interventions have a result. And so when you say you're looking at your intervention and you want to know its effect on this is where you ask yourself, why do people stretch in the first place? What are they hoping to achieve? Do they want to reduce soreness? Do they want to increase range of motion? Do they want to increase muscle performance? Do they want to increase strength? Do they want to increase mobility? So what you would do is you would put passive stretching, or you could put active stretching, or you can put dynamic stretching. These are all the search terms that I have that you guys were supposed to have done for your experience for your the stretching primer. And you would put those in there and now have a longer search term. So it's just like when you guys use Google, you would never just say, if you're looking for a book, you would just, if you went in the Google search term and said fiction books, you're going to get millions upon millions of results. So you want science fiction books. Okay. You want science fiction fantasy dragons, right? And you can see how you're still talking about the same thing, but you're narrowing your search terms down and down and down. And then if you do science fiction, fantasy, dragons, thrones, you're going to get Game of Thrones, right? So whatever, you're going to get specifically, then you're going to get 5 or 6 books to read for what your articles are. And so in this case, if you just do stretching, you're going to get a boatload of aspects. You're going to do, in this case, she's doing passive stretching and muscle performance, and it halved it. It went from like 24,000 to 9,000. And so there's different ways that you can play around with those search terms to narrow your thing down.
Yeah, and I did that in the advanced search. And then also too, on the left-hand side, you can do 10 years, like within the last 10 years or the last 5 years. And then that didn't really do much more, but, trying to see if there's another one. And I'm going to show you another database that will help narrow things down even more. So yeah, just always look at keywords, stiffness, ultrasound, stretching. You, hmm. It's so funny because all of this stuff is just like not like a foreign language to me, but like
It's fancy science jargon that we use to make
it
ourselves
really
seem
is.
smarter than liberal arts and science, but it's not. It's just BS. Click on your the recent activity that effects of acute static, ballistic, and PNF stretching.
Okay.
And then what was that on the muscle and tendon tissue? Okay, so this is go ahead and scroll down. So what we'll do is like I saw the title, some interesting terms there, and now I'm just going to look at the last couple of sentences. Or this is where you were already at.
Oh, this is the
Uh,
one that
yeah.
let me do because I did find some, not saying like you can't find some there, but this would help can help to show how to narrow things down a lot more. Um,
So the way you had your search terms with the brackets, the and muscle performance, what was happening with
you want me to go back?
No, it's fine. You'll go. I think you'll do. It'll come up again to help you.
So
The Boolean, the Boolean logic for searching.
yeah, like I said, searching is a very like time consuming playing around with words. So like if you just do like an advanced search here, if I did, what was the one I was doing? Passive, let's do passive stretching, negative. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Oh, this one, not really that mean. So if you're doing an academic search complete or even like some of the other databases, you want to make sure it's on full text because then that's going to assure you that the article is available. And then scholarly peer reviewed, these are the ones that are like the top of the top, like actual like professionals. So it's not like a blogger is writing about this. These are like people that have like spent time in their field researching these things.
Well, what peer
Um,
reviewed mean too, you guys, is that the art, like, let's say I write an article, like if I write a blog post or a magazine article, it's just my opinion and it's put out there. And the only way it's really checked is if I have comments open and people can come on and make comments. But if you ever see a blog post or an article that has comments restricted, you can't trust the article because the person's not willing to do that. But in this case, with the peer reviewed, what that means is I write an article, I come up with some research and I post it out there. I have several people in my field that are my equivalent that are going to read it and say, yeah, that was a valid study or interesting point, and then they'll approve it, and then it gets published. So you can't just publish anything; it has to be reviewed through a process before it's out there. But like that article there, the influence of the chronic stretching muscle performance.
yeah, I
Um,
just,
yeah, this
so like
is.
I said, like this is just like the process of like finding the
So how did
search
you?
terms. And
So you got down to 142 articles, which is, I think, say pretty good from that in the
yes.
CINAHL database.
And then so like for this subject terms, they're all right here in blue and you can easily just click on them. Also on the side, you can email this to yourself if you want to do that, or you cite it here.
We'll show them the permalink because that's what the permalink is what they
Oh yeah,
need to. Because
that's what I mean.
the permalink should automatically give you the link and generate the reference for you.
Oh, I kicked me out. Okay. So the permalink is right here. Then you just copy and paste this. And then from here, if you look at the abstract, um, oh, so this says right here, spells it out for you. However, more studies are necessary to confirm whether FT can positively affect MB. So,
And so if you see like these acronyms, you have to go at the beginning of the abstract, and usually in the first sentence or
yeah.
two, they'll tell you. So FT is flexibility training, and MP is muscle performance. But let's say you guys like this article. The three things that you need what you're going to submit is you're just going to submit evidence that you found an article that had full text, and so you want to send me the link of the article. If you just copy and paste in the browser and do it, you're behind a login. It's not going to allow me to click. That's why you need to do the permalink. So you got to include the permalink. You have to copy and paste the abstract. So you're going to copy the abstract, just kind of highlight it, copy it, and put it into a Word doc. And then you got to give me the citation for that. And if you go back up there, it should automatically give you the site. You click on the citation. You want the APA format, so you'll scroll down, and you can just highlight that and copy and paste that. So really, the hardest part of this assignment is going to be the finding the search terms. Once you do, though, once you find an article, it's going to start to web out and intertwine with all the other articles. So once you find one, you don't have to do. It's not like you're going to have to go through this process for all 6 articles. Once you find one, it's going to be the dam is broken, and it's going to be easy to find. And all you're submitting is a permalink, the APA citation, and a copy paste of the abstract. That's the first part of the assignment. 3 articles that are showing stretching in a positive benefit. 3 articles that are showing stretching in a. No one's going to come out and say stretching sucks, but they're going to say something like, we need it's inconclusive. We need more time to figure it out. We need to do some more research, and that's more neutral or negative. And then the last part of the assignment is you're going to read one of those articles and you're going to interpret it. Like, what did they do? And basically, what you're going to say is your opinion. Yes, I am going to do this, or how would I incorporate this in my own personal practice or my future practice, or no, I'm not going to include this in. So that's all it is.
Another thing too, you could also do like maybe add like a sport with it. So if you just do like pre-activity stretching, and I'm just picking running, we'll see what we get with this. Okay, so it's saying not your initial search query did not yield any results, but let's just see what we have. And also you can, depending on, I don't know, like, does it matter about year range for you? You can also switch it to like, we usually say at least like the last 20 years.
10 years is the what we look at for the publication.
10 years, and that just helps narrow down your search and what you're getting. So this is, how many did I have? 23. So aerobic activity before and following short duration static stretching improves range of motion and performance versus a traditional warm-up. So let's just check this one out. Okay. Oh, that's in Spanish, too far. Is this all in Spanish? Wow, this just like switches right into Spanish. They don't give a lot of space in between. This is saying this may be especially important for athletes who substitute later into a game with minimal time for full warm-up. It can provide an ROM improvements for 30 minutes with either facilitation or no impairment in performance. So this is a good one for you. So yeah, just like doing whatever type of stretching with sport, you can try that as well.
And sometimes it's helpful. Sometimes it's helpful to do what you know. So if you find yourself like let's say you have tight hamstrings, you can look up like tight hamstrings or hamstring flexibility or best approaches to hamstring. You could just type in hamstring flexibility. Now that one's going to come up a lot, but let's say you have like tight pecs or gas calves or your back. You can start to kind of do what you know. Or let's say you're a soccer player. How do I improve my sprint speed, or how do I improve my my kicking ability, right? Or you're a gymnast, or for whatever reason you want to end up doing the splits, right? Like, so is there a way for you to put English only? I thought there was you're getting a lot.
Oh, you know what? I don't know if I've ever come across that. Oh, and also too, you can look on the side after you do a search, you can also do it like range of motion of joints. Like you can click on here to see what one may be interested in you. You know what? I don't know if I've ever come across an English thing option. I would have to like look in. If you want me to show them the database.
I'm sorry. What was that, Mallory? You cut out for a second.
Oh, did you want? I know. I feel like my connection's really bad today. Do you want me to show them Cinel?
Yeah, I think Cinol is a nice because I think it categorizes all the so this is the database that I would highly recommend to use, the Cinol, because it kind of does a lot of the filtering for you, because it's mostly allied health.
Yeah, so this is basically the database I showed you before, Academic Search Complete. My computer's dying. They're owned by the same company, EBSCO. So a lot of what I showed you on Academic Search Complete is going to be with Cinel. Let's do an advanced search. Let's do, what's the one that I just did? Passive searching.
You can do like
Let's do passive.
passive stretching, injury prevention.
Oh, 36. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's right. This all like kind of categorizes everything together, and it just gives you less to have to go through. So now you guys are going to see things here like tissue flossing. That's just a style of aspect. If you don't know what it is, then just kind of scroll down. You have another couple dozen. Um,
Indoor soccer athletes. Oh, also for this one, you want to make sure it's linked full text. I didn't do that before. So then now all these articles we're going to have them. Oh, and it's only down to 3. So effects of tissue flossing in nurses. Okay.
so right there, you can see it says, in addition of stretching exercise intervention was better than only performing usual activities. So like this is a quick article for positive for stretching. So now in this CINAHL, you don't have to be as specific. So if you just do passive stretching and injury and got rid of prevention, you can see what you get. You might get maybe back to 40 or 50 articles. Ooh, like there, perfect. So like passive versus active stretching. So now you're able to compare like 2 different types of stretching from that.
Yeah, and you can add like basketball training effect. A specific different stretching protocol should be used in different part of the body to offer performance benefit and decreasing of the incidence of injuries.
So that's why the CINAHL database is nice, because it just kind of pre-filters a lot of the stuff towards more the allied health field already.
And then to get the full article, because obviously, like if you scroll down, it's not there. It would be over here on the left-hand side under PDF full text. I know you don't need the articles, but
No, they do
for
need
future.
they'll need the article, because they'll have to pick one of their 3 and read it. They won't have to submit it to me, but they'll
Oh,
have to read the full
okay.
article. Yeah,
So
so it
here's
has to
the
have full
full
article.
article. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, Giovanni.
So like, I mean, one of the articles that I found for my research project, I mean, it did talk about like why, like the cons of like stretching, but it didn't like have all the stuff that I needed for APA format. What could I still have used that?
Where did you get the article from?
A website called Cron. One second.
If you tell me the name of the article, I might be able to find it.
Well, I think we have an issue with like, is it peer-reviewed article or is it a
Uh,
So that's the thing you guys got to make sure you're aware of, that you're making sure. That's why we're going through all this time and going through the databases, is that the databases are giving you the peer-reviewed articles. And these databases cost the library thousands of dollars each to
Yeah.
maintain. So this is a repository of aspects. So if you're finding stuff online, like on a blog post or a free website, it's most likely not peer-reviewed. It might be an author, a journalist that's referencing a peer-reviewed article, and I find that a lot too. So sometimes if I do a quick internet search and it brings me to, like, let's say a coach's website, and then they're referencing a article that they're talking about, then I'll just find their reference of the article and then find that article. So Giovanni, I know you were distracted there for a second, but it sounds like the article that you found was it might have been just like a blog post or a magazine article. If that's the case, then you can't use that article. But was your article like from a peer-reviewed journal, or do you know where the article came from?
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. If you want, you can take the title of the article and put it in the search term
Yeah.
in the library there in the one search, and you can see if it comes up, and you can kind of see where it came from.
Okay.
Yeah. So like right here, I don't even know, like here. This is for a student. I'm not researching marijuana myself.
Do marijuana and stretching and see what happens. I don't know.
Ooh. Okay. Well, and I like clicked on it and I was like,
I'm kidding.
I'm actually curious now. Yeah, I had a
Like
student.
if there's any impact on range of motion, mobility, I'm sure it would. It's a central nervous system depressant, so I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like I know it's an anti-inflammatory, but it is essential. It can be essential nervous depressant and any essential, like anything that anytime they prescribe things like muscle relaxers or even things for like anxiety, like what's that drug, Xanax, that
Oh
has
yeah, Xanax.
that has a muscle relaxing effect that can then improve range of motion. But then, how long does that effect last?
So yeah, just
Anyway,
like even like just doing a search term like this, if you just do like a one search like here and I just clicked on articles. I just changed, oh, why did they switch it back? If you go to articles, it's going to pop up everything that we have in our databases.
now this is not part of the assignment sheet. It just popped up in the search history there, so that's all. But it shows you can combine any type of your search terms together to be able to figure out like what and she used this one search, and this is a good starting point, but
Yeah.
you might run into the problem of getting overloaded with the amount of articles to go through. So what you're really looking for is if you can get your search down where you only have to go through like a couple dozen articles or even less, you got a good you're on a good path there.
And I also just wanted to show you too that, yeah, like you can do a one search to find information, but it's just, oh, and here's your permalink in a citation. But just being able to like find a database and like go through our databases is a lot easier than doing like a one search. Because the one search is just everything that we have in our system where the database is just a specific area of study. Does anyone have any other questions? I know it's kind of like
And
everything, but
if you guys are, let's say, because you have to log into the library with your credentials to log in, and I think you guys saw Mallory got kicked out a couple times since she's remote. She had to kind of log back in, but that's the time that I might use PubMed if I find an article, say like Giovanni's situation where he found an article. And it was a journalist that kind of wrote about it. I would sometimes just kick that into PubMed real quick because PubMed is accessible. It's free website. You might not have access to the full article, but I might pop that in there real quick and see if they've extracted any of those terms. And then it gives you a bunch of when you put something in there, it starts to link you to different aspects. And you don't need to log in. You don't need credentials. You can do it from anywhere. You can do it from your phone. So sometimes I'll use PubMed that way for a quick and dirty search. But then if I want to get the actual research, I'll go to the CINAHL. And you guys saw how the CINAHL database that just gave you a more concentrated set of articles to look through.
so
Any questions so far?
I know you guys wanted time to research questions, so
You guys, you have reactions here. You have a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Just from that, thumbs up, thumbs down, who feels confident that they're able to kind of start to go through and do some research? Give me a thumbs up real quick. Or a thumbs down if you feel like you're still kind of unsure about it. And I got a bunch of non-participants, so that means you guys are neutral about it. I don't think I saw any thumbs down. If you had thumbs down, but maybe if you did do it and I missed it, if you want to do it again, but. And I don't know, Mallory, if we're going to have time to actually search together, but what I think is really important, the takeaway from this is that the one-on-one meeting, did I understand that right? That you can set up a time and get 25 minutes with a one-on-one with the librarian? I think that's, I think that's huge in itself.
Like I said, live chat is like if you have a question like, oh, what database can I use for finding this? Or whatever. And then the research appointments. This would be like somebody would come and you would do a video with them and you would do a more deep dive into researching.
And then you have my contact. Obviously, you guys can but I think Mallory's contact information will be embedded into the website, so you can ask her directly, or she might bump you to the one-on-one meeting if it needs more, or that research assistant. But if you guys have played around in the Blackboard shell, I do have basically this whole step-by-step process laid out. I have the videos there, but now kind of talking about it live and going through it, I think it made hopefully makes more sense. And yeah, it's. You have plenty of information. If anything, I feel like maybe you have too many options to.
Yeah, research can be very daunting and just overwhelming. But yeah, just play around with search terms and trying to narrow down your search results.
You know what we could do
Key.
right now? If anyone wants to share in the chat section, so if you guys look at the right-hand side, you should have your chat. So I think a lot of you have already submitted or done some research. Did you guys just want to share some of the search terms, the phrases that you guys use, and then we can kind of all, that's what I was going to have you guys do is break out into small sessions and kind of find your search term, but just we're kind of running low on time. We have about 8 minutes left, and um, I guess we could still break out, but I think just doing it as a group here with the 15 of us, if you guys want to share some of your search terms that you guys use. I know that I always kind of delineate, I'll say like passive versus active is like my first term. And then I'll look at like the type of stretching. Am I doing dynamic or static? And then I'm looking at my result. I'm looking at like performance, range of motion, pain, right? Those are like kind of the things. So what a search term would look like would be like passive, static, stretching, and its effect on performance. So like that would be the whole search term, those 4 words right there in my. So Dennis, you did passive stretching flexibility. Who Jobin would like to also put up specific field like. So Jobin, were you meaning that you were doing it in like just using the discipline of physical therapy?
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying like you can put in like just say like a key term could be like physical therapy, or you can put in like I don't know if it's in the EBA scope, but there was like for my classes in the PTA program we had to do research. So whenever we went out to like the library's database, it would like come up on the side like to filter out, and then you can click on like physical therapy or
Okay.
stuff like that. Like it could be like a specific field. It'll like show up like medicine or stuff like that. You could do it too.
Sure. Sure. Excellent. Amanda, what did you what were some of the search terms that you used?
Mostly I just did like I would put like the either passive or active, and then I'd put like the type of stretching, or like for the ones that were like to find like the bad, I guess, like against, I did like stretching like negative, stretching bad, or like just stuff like that. Just really simple terms, like
Okay.
nothing too in depth.
And what database were you in? Were you in the CINAHL database?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mostly use that one, and then the PubMed.
Okay. Perfect. Excellent. Excellent.
And like just like I did negative results and I got 0, but then I changed it to effects and I have 1. So just even doing that. This is headaches. So
Well, and they show a lot of headaches related to like cervicogenic and cervical spine type stuff and opening up range of motion there. Dennis, you know nothing about that, right? About how the neck musculature affects headaches, and I'm kidding. He's a pre-chiropractic, so that's his wheelhouse. Any other questions before we wrap up? We have about 5 minutes left, and Mallory, did you have anything else you want to cover? I'm sorry, it sounded like we were kind of coming towards the.
no,
Okay.
sorry I didn't leave enough time at the end.
No, it was perfect. I
It
think
just
this
went by
was.
so quickly.
You know what? I think it was really good to see. It was like you didn't have it prepped up that way. You were actually going through the process, and I think that was really important to see. And things came up from that. And again, this video was recorded, so we'll just add to the specifics of that. And I think the most powerful thing is the availability of the connection to the library, just to be able to ask questions one-on-one that way.
Yes, yes. And like I tell all my classes, like we are always there to help you. So just reach out to us and we will be there to help in any way that we can. We know that things are crazy with COVID, but yeah, just reach out and just know that we are available.
I'm gonna share my screen real quick, so I'm gonna take over as a presenter. So if you want to close, what am I doing here? Okay.
Why is it not? Oh, stop sharing. Well, right here.
Whoops, that's the wrong screen. Let's get my other screen here. Let me share my other okay, why is it not there? Spring 2. Okay, so here's the Blackboard shell. This is where this is where module 2, and then you got like the experience there for like experiencing the difference between active and passive stretching, which you guys should have completed by now. And then right after here, it gets to the research review. This is the library research project, and this is the assignment aspect. But I have the research tour here, and right before this, down up here where you actually did this stretching primer. This is where a lot of these search terms come from. So this is where like the active versus passive, static versus dynamic. These are the different domains of stretching. And so you have your passive static, passive dynamic, active dynamic. You have your different types these are 4 different types. And that just gives you 4 different search terms right there. And then you have your results, your increased range of motion, negative effects, however you want to apply that in. But this kind of gives you that. Again, it was supposed to be a primer for the assignment itself, but it also introduced you to some search terms for the library research. I added a couple things here. I added the like just kind of the anatomy of the research process, like what an article has. And then here's your APA citation format if you ever not on the library site. But outside of that, everything is self-contained here. And then I'll have a link. That's the Harper College Library right there, but I'll have we'll have the librarian embedded in this section over here. You'll be able to find it there as well. Any questions? Any questions for Mallory? Well, this is great, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in and your attention. Remember, this is due. You have a week and a few days to finish this. So you got your research going. You got to find 6 articles total. That's it. 3 that are positive stretching, 3 that are negative. You're going to read one of those 3 that was positive and just summarize it. Tell me what it did, why it was important to you, and how it's going to change your role as a practitioner or your information, or what it's going to stimulate you to do. Are you going to look more into it or not? And then you're going to pick one of those 3 articles that were negative or neutral, and same thing. You're just going to give me a summary of what they did, and then how are you going to use it? Reflect on it. How you're going to use it in your personal and/or professional career. So really simple. It's not about like your synthesis of the information. Did you understand what AROM and PROM and all that? It's just, were you able to find some articles? Were you able to interpret a little bit? And did it change how your course of action slightly? That's it, just introduction. This is due next Sunday, not this Sunday, but Sunday, the February 14th. And with that, I'll be the last one on in case you guys have any questions. But if not, have a great weekend and we'll see you guys next week. Mallory, thank you so very much. It was super helpful. So a round of applause for you there. So.
Thank you. You guys have a good one. And like I said, reach out. We're happy to help you.
And then Dennis, I'll see you in 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
So do we also have a module 3 due this Sunday?
No, module 3, it doesn't even start yet. Module 3 will
okay.
start, we're going to start module 3 Sunday, and then we'll be moving forward, and then module 3 will be due the next week. So you shouldn't even be in module 3 yet.
Oh, all right.
Perfect, right?
Yep. All right, thank you.
Yep.
See ya.
Mr. Lewis, I have you at 11:15 today, right, for the one-on-one?
I believe so. Yeah, is that Jobin that's talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have you at 11:15, right after Dennis. Yep.
Okay. Do we just use the same link?
No, you're going to use the different link. You're going to use my private room, the Meet. It's there. It should be linked there on the Blackboard shell or where they signed up.
Is it? Oh, in module 1.
Yeah, wherever. Not module. The live sessions and the link for the one-on-one meeting are different. So if you go to the one-on-one meeting information where you signed up,
it should have been in the email, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Email. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool. Thank you.
Sounds good. All right, Jobin. See you.
Just staying on to see if anyone had any other questions.
Yeah, I usually kind of stick around. I should have stopped the recording a little while ago.